The pattern papers in the new Spring Parade Stamp TV kit are so bright and beautiful, you just hate to throw away even the smallest scrap. So today on Stamp TV, I'm going to show you a sweet little card sketch that finds a home for those pretty little leftovers. Let me show you the tools and products you need to make this project. First, you're going to need some stamps. And I'm using a couple of the stamps from the Shine On stamp set that comes in the new Spring Parade Stamp TV kit. Then you're going to need some cardstock, and I have a piece of our Sweet Mango cardstock. This comes in our Stamp TV kit, and I've made a card base from it. Then I have a bunch of little scraps that are leftovers from other cards that I've made, and these are all from the Spring Parade pattern paper pack. I also have some black and white cardstock for a focal image, and I've cut a few pieces of black onyx cardstock to layer behind my scraps. Then I have some ink, and I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to color my images using some Copic markers. The colors that I have are R27, which is cadmium red. I have YR23, which is yellow ochre, and BG34, which is horizon green. And I'm also going to add a little touch of sparkle with a Clear Star Sakura Stardust pen. So let's get started. I'm going to begin by taking this small square of white cardstock and stamping a few images on it. Now, my images and my greeting are all going to go on this small square of cardstock. This way I can really feature those beautiful pattern paper scraps without covering too much of them up. So I'm going to ink this stamp up with some of the Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to stamp that right off to the side here on this piece of cardstock. So there is my little bird out in the rain. Now I'm going to also stamp the little flowers, the trio of flowers that comes in this little set. And that's going to go right next to the little bird. Right here. There we go. And then I'm going to add the little greeting up top here, and the one I'm going to use is a happy hello. And whenever I stamp a greeting, I always like to just test it first to make sure that it's nice and straight, or that I know how to make it look straight. I'm going to add that right up top there. So there is my greeting, a happy hello. Now I'm going to start coloring in these images using some of the Copic markers. I'm going to start by coloring the flowers, the cadmium red, and that's the R27. And I'm not doing any fancy coloring work like some of those spectacular Copic artists you see out there. I'm just basically coloring in using my Copics. Now, one of the reasons why I like the Copic markers, or alcohol markers in general, is because, yes, of course, we've seen the beautiful shading work that people can do. But the other benefit to Copic markers is if you don't want to do shading work and you want to color bold areas, you don't get streaks. The color blends nicely together and gives you a nice flat color finish so that you don't have all those watery streak lines that you get when you use a water-based marker. So that's another really nice reason to use alcohol markers. And of course, you don't have to spend a fortune. You can start with a collection of the Bic Market markers, and then you can fill in other colors that you want in the Copic brand or some of the other brands of alcohol markers that are out there on the market today. And although the companies say that you should only mix their markers with their own markers, I've actually had great success blending markers from different companies together and have gotten some beautiful results. So it's okay to try. You might really like it. I'm going to add one more marker in here that I didn't tell you about, and this is the G99. This is olive, and I do want to do my leaves in olive, so I'm going to add a little bit of olive here. And of course, you can pick your own colors to coordinate with whatever pattern papers you're working with. And you might like lighter versions of these colors or deeper versions. So now my next step is to color in my little chicken here. I'm going to use the yellow ochre to do that. And again, not doing any shading, but just getting some nice solid color. And for some reason, even though I know I'm coloring that little wing in yellow, I like to color around it first and then color the wing last. I think that just helps to keep that streak-free kind of look, is to color the bold areas that you're going to color all at once. And even if you're coloring another section the same color, do that all at once. So, almost done her little body here, and I know it's a girl because she's got a cute little bow in her hair, in her feathers. Okay, and now I'll color that wing. Now, the rest of the, oh, I should probably color the little beak in. Now, the rest of the part of this image I'm going to color using the horizon green and play off of the turquoise that are in that is in many of the pieces of pattern paper that I'm going to use for this project. I really want a nice bold burst of turquoise in my focal image. And I am coloring over all of these dots. You could leave them white. You can color them a deeper color, a different color, or you can color right over them like I am, and then I'm going to add sparkle, that Sakura Clear Star Stardust pen, into all of those little dots. So that will kind of change the look of the dots once I do that, so it's okay for me to just color right over them. It won't make that much of a difference. And of course, I want her little boots to match. I really like this little image. It's so cute. It's just so happy. And then I'll do the little handle, and I'll do her bow to match. There we go. So now I'm going to add that clear star. I always like to start my pen a little bit off the cardstock to make sure I have a good flow. And if you can't get color or sparkle out of your Sakura pen, try running it under a little bit of warm water, and that will melt off anything that's stuck or clogging it up. So I'm going to fill in these little dots with just a touch of sparkle on each one, and you can achieve that just kind of by touching the tip of the pen right to the dot. Maybe just shaking it a little bit, and there we go. Okay, and then I'm also going to do the top of the umbrella and the long stem here. Make that a silvery glitter. And then, of course, we have to have sparkly boots to match. And a little bit of sparkle in the center of each flower will bring those images together. So now I'm going to let that sit and dry for just a minute, and now's the perfect time to assemble our panels of our scraps for our background. So here I have a couple of different pieces, and one thing I like to do, especially if I have similar patterns that are plain patterns like a stripe or maybe a chevron, I like to make them go in opposite directions. This way it even makes it a little bit more interesting. Have one of the stripes going vertically and one going horizontally. So I'm going to attach these little panels onto these little pieces of black onyx that I've cut out, so that they're nice and framed. This will just take a moment to do. There we go, there's two. Let me grab another one here. Three, and then one more. Now all of the measurements will be under the video screen at stamptv.com, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can head over to stamptv.com and click on the videos tab and you'll find this video today, and it will stay up in our archives forever. Okay, so there we go. This one's a little hard for me to see against the gray background to get it perfect, so let's try one last time here. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to lay this out in an interesting way. I'm going to put one panel up here at the top and then the opposite down there. And then I will split up the two floral ones like that. So that is going to be my background. Now they're pretty easy to place once you have them all cut out. You just want to have a nice little edge there around the outside of Sweet Mango, like that. Once you get the first two, make sure that's straight. Once you get the first two in place, it's real easy to position the other two. So there's the second one. All right. And then we'll do the last two down here at the bottom. And this golden one right here on this side. I think I'm going to spread these two out just a little bit apart. Move this one over a hair. Okay. And this one probably over a hair too. When you're doing this at home, make sure you stand up because it's so much easier to adhere things straight when you're standing up and looking straight down at it rather than trying to lift it up like I'm doing here. You can see how many times I have to reposition things because I don't have that good overhead view like you do when you're working at home. Okay, so there is my little background of 4 panels. Now I'm going to attach this piece on top of that little black onyx piece that I cut out to layer. And I will adhere these together the same way. There we go. And then this whole panel will go right on top of my 4 pretty background paper rectangles. And you can position that however you want. There we go. And there is my finished card project. For even smaller scraps, try doubling up to 8 smaller panels and mixing patterns from different collections to create even more unique backgrounds.